Something feels off, and fans can't stop reading between the lines. Jennifer Hudson's posts raise eyebrows. Common shows up solo a little more than usual. Then the blogs light the fuse with a claim about a much younger woman at a party. None of that proves anything on its own, but it's enough to turn a steady relationship into a guessing game. The question isn't whether people are talking, it's what the story looks like when you line up what they've said, where they've been, and how the past keeps tapping on the present. It started small, fewer side-by-side moments. A different tone in how they appeared when they did share a space. Observers noticed that Jennifer's captions felt more cryptic than celebratory. At the same time, Common was spotted alone, smiling for cameras and sliding out. None of that is unusual for two busy artists, but the contrast with earlier months made it stand out. Then the whisper that carried the farthest: a party, a younger woman, and a claim that he was a little too comfortable in the corner when he thought no one was watching. That's how rumors tend to move, quietly first, then loud enough to echo. What matters is how that whisper collided with history people already know, and a pattern he himself once put into words. That collision is why the room won't settle. They didn't sprint into the spotlight. When Jennifer Hudson and Common first linked, the chemistry stayed under the radar by design. They kept their world private and moved with care, because they knew exactly how many opinions would come with every photo. Even so, by March 2023, the guard came down a little. Jennifer wished him a happy 51st with a picture that said more than the caption. His arm was there, the closeness was there, the message was simple: this is not just a rumor. A few months later, they slipped to London for a strange loop. They arrived separately to keep the temperature low, but anyone paying attention could see what mattered. They were together where it counted. After that came more moments that didn't need big speeches. Dinners, smiles, a rhythm that looked stable from the outside. The couple that refused to make a production out of their bond was building one anyway, one quiet step at a time. Even when the public didn't get a play-by-play, the connection felt present, not staged. Then comes the part you can't clip out of the story. Common talking about his own habits. He has described how he used to chase the rush at the start of something new, not as a headline he wanted, but as something he learned in therapy and decided to say plainly: the fireworks, the first month glow, the part where everything feels effortless and the world is only two people wide. He admitted that when the glow fades and real life shows up, that's where he used to waver. Do I want the work? Am I ready to choose the steady path? That confession hits differently now, because once you've heard it, you never unhear it. When a blog posts a sighting or a caption reads distant, people aren't starting from zero, they're starting from his own words. The label people stick on it is love addiction, but the important piece is what he said next, that he was trying to grow past it, that he wanted to be ready when real life, not the honeymoon, asked for a decision. So you have two truths locked in tension: the old impulse he named, and the new commitment he has said he wants to live. To see why the present gets read the way it does, you have to pass through the history. Common's first public relationship that fans remember clearly was with Kim Jones. They share a daughter, but the romance didn't last, and the split left a mark on everyone involved. Years later, in his memoir, he acknowledged the distance that formed and how complicated co-parenting can be when the break is still fresh. Not long after came the chapter with Erykah Badu. They worked together, made music, and made sense in the public imagination. Even decades later, he called her his first real love, which says a lot about the depth of that bond and the imprint it left. Those two early relationships taught the audience two things at once: he loves deeply, and he moves forward when that love changes shape. And every time he moved forward, people rewrote the headline into a pattern, whether or not that was fair. Then there was Taraji P. Henson. That relationship mostly stayed off the stage. It wasn't a press tour, it was a life lived quietly. Taraji has said it mattered to her in ways that still sting, not just for her, but for her son, who felt the loss when it ended. When a romance reaches the inner circle like that, ending it doesn't just tear a page, it folds a whole chapter. After that came Serena Williams, a story that began with a cameo and turned into hand-in-hand sightings that sparked more than a few headlines. They radiated chemistry in public moments, but the timing wasn't built for forever. She had courts to conquer and a champion schedule, and the spark didn't melt the obstacles in the way. Two relationships, two kinds of quiet, two reminders that love in the spotlight comes with an extra cost. When it ends, the echo follows you into your next beginning. With Angela Rye, the rhythm was different. They stepped out together at events, looked aligned, and then stepped back, then tried again. then stepped back again. The reasons eventually came out in the cleanest words possible. Different visions of the future. She leaned toward building a family. He wasn't there. When someone tells you I don't know, it often means I'm not ready, and I'm not ready rarely grows into yes under pressure. Their back and forth made sense for two people trying to honor both connection and truth, and it added another layer to the public's reading of Common's heart. By the time Jennifer Hudson walked into the frame, people were already primed to see either growth or repetition. Tiffany Haddish met him on set, vibed with him over time, and pivoted from friendship to romance. For her, it was the healthiest she'd known: real care, real safety, a sense that they were building something that could last. She even joked that if he proposed, an apartment building would be the perfect ring. Then the turn. When it ended, Common's version sounded tidy: busy schedules, mutual decision, respect, all around. Tiffany's version felt different. She said it wasn't mutual. She said being left is familiar to her, and that she was trying to manage the hurt without letting it change who she is. She also said she missed him sometimes, which is honest in a way that doesn't always make headlines. Her words didn't accuse him of anything explosive. They just rejected the easy PR framing. And that matters, because whenever people evaluate his current step with Jennifer, they bring Tiffany's tone along with them. It's not a verdict, it's a memory that colors the present. Not every voice in this story is gentle. Jaguar Wright has been blunt for years, alleging that Common treats relationships like props and doesn't truly honor the women he dates. She said he uses proximity for status, and she's pushed a harsher idea that some romances are just covered. Others online have tossed in additional names: Ava DuVernay, Simone Bozeman, folding them into a narrative that makes him sound like a man who never settles. These are claims, not confirmed facts. They travel fast because they echo a suspicion the audience already carries. Which brings us back to the party rumor about a younger woman. There's no stack of photos, no ironclad timeline, just a story that fits a pre-written template. People believe what feels familiar. A whisper that lands on a ready-made pattern turns into a shout. Whether or not it's true almost becomes secondary to how believable it sounds to those who already expect the worst. Flip the lens. It's not just about whether he's ready, it's also about whether she wants that step at all. Reports surfaced that Jennifer Hudson turned down a proposal not long ago. The word was that she didn't see herself walking down that aisle with him right now. That decision, if true, isn't just about his history, it's about hers. She's lived through a hard public end before. The phrase toxic relationship doesn't dissolve just because time passed. When someone has endured chaos, caution is not a red flag, it's a survival skill. Sources close to her said she didn't want to rush into a promise she couldn't keep, didn't want to relive old pain, and didn't want to be trapped in a 9-year engagement that unspooled into nothing. Common, for his part, has tried to steady the picture, saying he's in it for the long run, assuring her that the past isn't a prophecy, but assurance doesn't erase experience. If she's not ready, she's not ready. And if he's truly done with the early chase pattern he named, he'll understand that choosing someone also means honoring their pace. So here we are, two artists, two calendars, two histories that don't always harmonize. The internet says trouble in paradise and waits for the first Notes app announcement. Friends insist there's no younger woman, no quiet split, and nothing dramatic to report. Both can't be true forever, but both can feel true in the middle, especially when a Theo chooses privacy over performative updates. What we have is a push and pull. On one side, the hints that keep fans nervous: fewer appearances, quieter captions, a rumor that refuses to sit down. On the other side, the memory of earlier months when they looked synced, the words he used when he talked about marriage and growth, and the sense that when Jennifer moves, she moves with intent. If something changes, she will likely say it in her own voice, not through breadcrumbs. Until then, assumptions are just that, assumptions. This story isn't a verdict, it's a snapshot. A careful woman weighs her heart against her history. A man with a well-documented past tries to prove that the chapter he's in isn't a rerun. The audience reads tea leaves and calls it news. Maybe there was a party and a younger woman in the corner. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe she paused a proposal because the timing didn't feel safe. Maybe he's finally ready to be the constant he once struggled to be. Two things can be true while the ending is still unwritten. People change, and patterns echo. If there's a reveal coming, it won't arrive as a whisper from a party. It will land with names attached, and it will be there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more celebrity gossip like this one. Until then, the only honest position is patience, because the only voices that decide this story belong to Jennifer Hudson and Common.